do this. It's the Real Jonathan Smith Show on Indie Sports Ticket, 1430 AM, 93.9 HD2, and always on the free Indie Sports Ticket app.
What's going on? Welcome into the Real Jonathan Smith Show here on a beautiful, beautiful Monday. Hopefully you had a nice weekend. All the fathers out there, hopefully you had a happy Father's Day. Oh, man. And hopefully tonight we get to see our Indiana Pacers take a 3-2 lead over the Oklahoma City Thunder. Tonight's game is going to be super tough, but I want to go back to Friday because any and every NBA playoff series is a story, especially one like this. One game changes the next game. And I thought that game 4 on Friday night perfectly encapsulated this series in terms of this is what it looks like when the Oklahoma City Thunder are controlling the game versus this is what it looks like when the Indiana Pacers are controlling the game. Game 4 was a tale of two halves. That first half was an Indiana Pacers game through and through. And the second half was an Oklahoma City Thunder style game. In the first half, the pace was up. Teams were running up and down the floor. The Pacers had the ball hopping all around. In the first half, let's start with the pace. The Pacers took 44 shots. They were on pace. Probably used that word too much in the first 90 seconds of the show, but hey, it's fine. They were pacing to take 88 shots at the end of the first half, which would have been the most shots that they had attempted in the entire series. The Thunder took 43 shots in the first half. Up and down, teams were running and gunning. Siakam was getting in the flow early. The ball was moving around. It was really good basketball from the Pacers. And then in the second half, the game slowed down. And the Pacers only took 36 shots in the second half. That's 8 less shots, obviously. And the Thunder took 35 shots. That's 8 less possessions where the Pacers actually got a shot on goal. The game slowed down completely, and it turned into a half-court style game. And the Thunder are a much better half-court team on both sides of the ball compared to the Pacers. They run better half-court offense because they have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who was great for them in the fourth quarter. Okay, they put him on the ball, and Jalen Williams would come screen. And, and then they just kind of had their way from there. Plus, speaking of Jalen Williams, he's been really good in this series after game 1. Right? He's just been a much more consistent scorer. The reason why the Thunder were even in the game in the first half was because the Pacers didn't have much of an answer for Jalen Williams, who can get downhill and get to the rim and probably get fouled. It seems like whenever he wants to. And then you look at their defense, and you've heard people wax poetic about the Thunder defense all playoffs long, all regular season long. It's the best defense we've seen since the 2004 Detroit Pistons, and they completely took the Pacers out of their rhythm in the final 3 minutes and 20 seconds of that game. You say 3 minutes and 20 seconds, Jonathan, that's an oddly specific amount of time. Yeah, it is. The Pacers scored 1 point. 1 point in the final 3 minutes and 20 seconds of that game. And I know that coming out of game 4, people want to blame the refs. Welcome to the NBA Finals. It happens every year. And they weren't great. It doesn't help that Scott Foster was the lead official. You would think that the NBA wants to keep any official with the nickname of the extender as far away from the NBA Finals as possible. But it's the NBA. They don't always make the best choices. So, yes, the officiating wasn't very good. They allowed the Thunder to be way more physical defensively than they allowed the Pacers. And that's really frustrating. With that being said, the Thunder's defense was also incredible. I'm just a believer that where people are great, you acknowledge it. And the Thunder defense in that fourth quarter, really in the entire second half, was great. 2 things can be true. Scott Foster and his crew are awful, and the Oklahoma City Thunder defense was incredible. Like, the Pacers couldn't start their offense within 30 feet of the basket. Like, Tyrese Haliburton would come across half court, and Lou Dort's like, all right, cool, man. You're not getting any further. And you can run as many dribble handoffs as you want from the logo. The Thunder are like, fine. You want to run another dribble handoff 35 feet from the basket? We'll just go under. No big deal. It does nothing. Lou Dort, his strength and mobility gave Tyrese Haliburton issues in that fourth quarter. It's why he received votes for Defensive Player of the Year. It's why he was first team all defense. He is truly one of the best perimeter defenders in the NBA. And Tyrese Haliburton couldn't get by the dude. Pascal Siakam in that fourth quarter completely disappeared. He took one shot, one field goal. Pacers couldn't get him the ball. I'm sure they were trying to, but the Thunder's pressure defense didn't allow them to get the ball to Siakam. And, you can be upset about officials. I was. In the moment, I was very upset. But the Thunder defense destroyed that Pacer offense in that second half. It was not a contest. No contest whatsoever. And part of that is just because this Thunder defense is awesome. The other thing that changed from the first half to the second half, after scoring 60 points in that first half, 60 points and a half against this Thunder defense is really tough to do. It felt like the Pacers had solved some things. And then the second half happened. It's like, no, they didn't solve anything. After scoring 60 points in the first half, the Pacers only scored 44 points in the second half. It's not very good. They shot 36% from the field in the second half after shooting 48% from the field in the first half. Sure, the officiating wasn't good. The Pacers' offense wasn't very good either. And it's because the game slowed down, became more of a half-court game, and the ball stopped moving. The Pacers had 15 assists in the first half. That's a pretty good number. Like, when you're pacing for 30 assists on the game, like, that's impressive. That's where the Pacers need to be if they want to beat this Oklahoma City Thunder team. In the second half, they only had 6 assists. The Pacers aren't going to win if they only have 21 assists as a team. They're not going to score enough if that's the case, because if they only have 21 assists, as much as I love Tyrese Haliburton and Pascal Siakam and the rest of this Pacers roster, they don't have enough one-on-one scoring to overcome only having 21 assists. Like, that number's got to be closer to 30. And I've said all series long that if Tyrese Haliburton gets to 10 assists, then they'll win. If he's around 8, it'll be close. And if he gets to 6, it won't be enough. He had 7 assists on Friday night, and the Pacers had a chance. They did, but the offense fell apart late in that fourth quarter. Look, if he has 3 assists in the final 3 minutes, Pacers probably win that game. They probably do. But there just wasn't enough scoring from everyone. If Game 5 tonight looks like the first half, where the Pacers have the ball popping around and it's moving and they're running and, the offense is just kind of flowing, then, like, they're probably going to win. They probably are. But if it looks like the second half where the game is slower and the Thunder get to set their defense every time down, then they're going to lose. They've got to score 110 points to have a chance to win. Like, that is the number for them. Because their defense in this series has been pretty good. It's been really good, honestly. The issue is the offense. If they can get to 110 points, then they'll be fine. But the only way that they're going to get to that number is that they can speed the game up. The pace has to be faster. The ball has to move more. They have to play against this Thunder defense when it's not set. Because we saw what it looks like when the Pacers play against a set Thunder defense in that second half. And the answer is not very good. It was brutal watching the second half of that game unfold. And we have to start with Tyrese Haliburton, because he is the best player on this Pacers team. And when the Pacers win, we're going to talk about him really positively. And when they lose, the first question is going to be, did Tyrese Haliburton do enough? I thought he did. I thought he did barely enough for them to win that game. The Thunder started the game by doubling and trapping Tyrese Haliburton when he came off ball screens. I hope they do it again tonight and in Game 6 and potentially in Game 7. Part of why the ball moved so well in that first quarter, especially for the Pacers, was because the Thunder kept putting 2 players on Tyrese Haliburton. If you go back and you look at the quarter-by-quarter scoring, the Pacers scored more points in the first quarter than any other quarter because of the Thunder and their willingness to double Tyrese Haliburton. You can't do that to him. If you double Tyrese Haliburton, he's too good of a passer and too smart of a player to not beat that coverage consistently. And the Pacers generated a ton of open looks. I think they hit 5 threes in that first quarter because, the Thunder would double, Haliburton would make the right play, and then, two more passes, and then boom, wide open three. You're good. So hopefully they double him again. I don't think they will because they're going to go back and they'll be like, yeah, that didn't really work. Also, Tyrese Haliburton hit his first shot. It was a 30-footer from straight away, barely in front of the logo. It's important for him. He ended up taking 15 shots. He also got to the foul line some, finally. I thought he was consistently aggressive the whole game, even in the fourth quarter. The Pacers scored 17 points in the fourth quarter. He had 8 of them. The Thunder made him a driver, and he was like, fine. And he got to the rim, and he finished a couple really tough layups in that fourth quarter. So aggressiveness-wise and his willingness to score-wise, I thought he was good. I thought he was really good in that regard. The offense and the cutting looked so much better when he was on the floor compared to when he wasn't. He only played 36 minutes in Game 4. I wonder if that was a mistake. Like, could you have played him an extra 4 minutes? Because the offense just looks significantly better when he's out there. Okay? And like he doesn't have to score. That's why he's a superstar. Okay? Like, when he's on the floor, the offense of the Pacers immediately goes to another level. Like there is a very real drop-off when it's Haliburton and McConnell or Haliburton and Mathurin or Haliburton and Nembhard on the floor compared to any other way that you want to slice it, whether it's Nembhard and McConnell as your two guards or McConnell and Mathurin, as we see with that bench group. As soon as Haliburton checks back in, the game changes. The Pacers have won his minutes, I believe, in every game except for Game 2, the one game where they got blown out. So he's got to be on the floor more. You have 3 games left. Like, let's empty the tank. Put it on E. Like he needs to play 40 minutes tonight because the Pacers need to win this game tonight. Like, it's going to be tough winning a Game 6 here and then winning a Game 7 next Sunday or this Sunday in Oklahoma City. Win tonight. Take your 2 days off. Come back on Thursday and let's finish it. I think he needs to play a little bit more tonight just because there is such an obvious difference from when he's on the floor compared to when he is not. Okay, he had 8 points on 3 of 6 shooting with 5 assists in the first half. Once again, pushing the fact that he was very aggressive. Right? 3 turnovers in the first half is too many, but he had 1 less assist than the entire Thunder team. 5 assists to the Thunder 6. That's why the Pacers had the lead. To finish the game, he had, 18 points and 7 assists. He had 5 turnovers, which is way too many. But I thought Tyrese Haliburton played well enough. He didn't play great, but I thought he played well enough for the Pacers to win. 18 points and 7 assists is a relatively normal night from him. Okay, the Pacers are a team in every sense of the word. It's about everyone on this Pacers roster. Everyone has to contribute in order for the Pacers to win some of these games. And that just hasn't happened. Miles Turner continues to struggle. 3 of 10 from the field. 0 of 6 from 3. Aaron Nesmith, a guy whose name you've had to mention after every Pacers win. 2 of 9 from the field in Game 4. He missed every 2-point shot that he took. Benedict Mathurin took 2 shots in 14 minutes, and he missed 3 free throws late that could have kept the Pacers in the game a bit longer. And the longer the Pacers are in the game, the more I feel like they're going to win. Like, that was important. TJ McConnell off the bench. Do you remember anything that he did in Game 4? Like, the game ended, and I was like, did TJ McConnell even play? Like, you didn't feel his impact in any way, shape, or form. You definitely didn't feel his impact in any way, shape, or form in the second half. This wasn't a good enough game from the others. Obi Toppin was the only non-star for the Pacers that was consistently good. Like, Miles Turner wasn't. Benedict Mathurin wasn't. TJ McConnell wasn't. Ben Shepherd was okay in the 12 minutes that he played. Andrew Nembhard's defense was good, but he turned the basketball over 4 times. We can just keep it going. Like, The others have to be better, especially if the Pacers want to win another game in Oklahoma City, even late in the game. Tyrese Haliburton was good. Strong to the rim repeatedly in the fourth quarter. Finished a few tough layups. The Thunder committed to making him a driver, and he finished well at the rim when he got there. If only the Pacers' second best player had shown up in the fourth quarter, because that is the most frustrating thing about it. Haliburton is like grinding and working so hard to break down this Thunder defense, and he hit a couple really tough layups. He took a couple threes that I didn't really like. I wish he would go left. Tyrese Haliburton never goes left, but he's still able to somehow, some way get back to that right hand. And I wish he'd go left a little bit more often. And I wish that Pascal Siakam had been the guy in the second half that he was in the first half, because he was so good to start that game on Friday night. And if he starts like that again tonight, Pacers are going to feel great about their chances going into halftime. But he can't disappear the way that he did in the second half, because that's what Siakam did. He wasn't there at all in the second half after really dominating the first half of that game on Friday night. I'm going to tell you why he disappeared, and I'm probably going to rant a little bit about how frustrating it was, because the Pacers had a real opportunity to win that game. And if Pascal Siakam scores just a couple of buckets in the fourth quarter, there's a decent chance that the Pacers pull that game out. My thoughts on Pascal Siakam, his disappearance on Friday night, and what he has to do tonight to bounce back from it when we come back here in about 4 minutes. To the people watching on YouTube, can you hear me right now?
may, one day, be a must-listen for sports enthusiasts.
Yeah, and monkeys might fly out of my butt.
Uh-oh. The Real Jonathan Smith Show on Indy Sports Ticket 1430 AM, 93.9 HD2, and always on the free Indy Sports Ticket app.
Welcome back to the Real Jonathan Smith Show here on Indy Sports Ticket. Thank you for tuning in, no matter how you're tuning in, whether that's YouTube, Indy Sports Ticket. Head over there and subscribe. Maybe you're watching on Twitter, __ Jonathan Smith. If you want to follow me there, you can watch the show there as well. Or maybe you're listening on that Indy Sports Ticket app, which you can download wherever you find your apps. Now, we're talking Pacers all day today, coming off that really kind of brutal loss in Game 4. Got a chance to take the series lead tonight. And in order for that to happen, Pascal Siakam has to be really good. No way around it. Like, he has to firmly be the Pacers' best or second best player if the Pacers are going to have any sort of chance at winning the game tonight. He got off to a great start on Friday night. He hit his first three. Like, he wasn't posting up early, and like, I was fine with it. He didn't need to post up because the ball was boom, 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 boom. He was running really well in transition. He had 8 points and 4 steals with like 2.5 minutes left to go in the first quarter. I'm like, we're on like triple-double watch for Siakam if he can pick up the rebounding a little bit. He had eight rebounds on the night as well. And then after the first quarter, he just slowly started to like fade into oblivion. So, he scores 8 points, 4 steals, like within the first 10 minutes of the game. Second quarter, he scores 6 points, but like you're looking at his halftime stat line, you're like, 14 points, 5 of 9 shooting at half. He posted up a little bit more in that second quarter. He was the only Pacer in double figures at halftime. And I was like, all right, man, like if we get this again, we're talking about the Pacers are up 3-1 with a pretty great chance to win this thing, the whole thing. And then he scored 6 points in the second half. And he scored 6 points in the second half. I mean, he scored 6 points in the third quarter, only took 1 shot in the fourth. That can't happen. And that's on a blend of people. It's not only on Pascal Siakam, because the Pacers just didn't really get him the ball, but he also didn't do enough to earn the basketball. And this is like a life thing too, I guess. Oh, look at me, 25 years old, about to get philosophical. Not really. Very few things are rarely 100% someone's fault. Very few things are. And I think basketball works, really sports in general work the exact same way, right? Like if, Daniel Jones, who's probably going to be the Colts starting quarterback week 1, if he throws an interception, like obviously part of it's on him because he threw the football. But maybe the Colts wide receiver didn't run the route as deep or as shallow or as crisp as he's supposed to. And I think what we saw in the fourth quarter of Game 4 is something pretty similar. Yes, the Pacers didn't get Pascal Siakam the basketball, but Pascal Siakam also didn't work hard enough off the ball to earn the right to have the basketball. Also, Thunder defense, really good. That's part of it too. And the frustrating thing about it is if the Pacers had gotten the same Pascal Siakam that they gotten it in the first 3 quarters, in the fourth, like if Pascal Siakam scores like 6 points on like 3 of 7 shooting in that fourth quarter, there's a decent chance that the Pacers won't win that game. Okay, I've been saying it all series. Pascal Siakam is the only favorable matchup that the Pacers have in this series. He cannot go an entire quarter where he only takes 1 shot. 1 shot for Pascal Siakam in the fourth quarter. It's not going to cut it. Like, he is your only like consistent isolation scoring threat. And we've seen it from him throughout the series. Like there's a reason why they've looked to get him established on the block early in what feels like every game except for Game 4, right? But they didn't have to because the ball was really moving. Like, the answer to trying to solve this Thunder defense, this aggressive, physical half-court Thunder defense, is to get Pascal Siakam the ball. because he's the one guy who is going to consistently have a favorable matchup every time down the floor, no matter who's guarding him. And so that's something that can't happen. Coach Carlisle was asked yesterday, this is not after the game, but he was asked yesterday why Pascal Siakam only got one touch or only took one shot in the fourth quarter of Game 4.
That can't happen. He's a guy that, if we're not playing through him, he needs to touch the ball more. Problems that hindered us in the fourth quarter were inability to rebound the ball, unnecessary fouls. Those things have us taking the ball out of bounds after they score, or having to take it out after a free throw, and then they can really set their defense, and then the game becomes slower. So those doing better in those two areas, the rebounding and the fouls. I mean, that will help us, but it's a challenge. I mean, they put a lot of pressure on you in the fourth quarter. I mean, they've got some great players that cause major problems.
Coach Carlisle right there talking about Pascal Siakam, and it's really the ending for me. The Thunder have some great players that really cause problems. Alex Caruso caused a lot of problems. Lou Dort caused a lot of problems. Cason Wallace and Jalen Williams, they all caused a lot of problems. And part of the answers to those problems is making sure that Pascal Siakam touches the basketball. And so they have to do a better job of making sure he's involved late, especially late in games. Like if there's a lull in the second quarter, you know what? Fine. It's going to happen sometimes. But in the fourth quarter, for him to only take one shot is just not okay. That simply cannot happen. And then while he's fading, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is just like slowly rising. It was a slow build for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in Game 4. Comes out in the first quarter, gets off to a slow start, 4 points on 2 of 5 shooting. Andrew Nembhard's working his butt off again, getting up underneath SGA and staying attached, and he's fighting over screens, and he's just not giving him any airspace. And the Thunder slightly shifted the way that they rested Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He didn't play as much in the first half as he did in the second half, right? That way he would have a little bit of extra juice going into, the end of that game. And so in the second quarter, because they shifted the rest a little bit, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander actually starts the second quarter, which hadn't been happening in the series. And Andrew Nembhard goes out to take his normal rest. And all of a sudden, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's scoring, man. He scored 8 points in the second quarter, on 4 of 6 shooting. So he goes to halftime. He's got 12 points on 6 of 11. And most of the points came when Andrew Nembhard was on the bench. He's got, and then the third quarter, like the rhythm was established for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. All of a sudden he's got 20 points, on 9 of 18 shooting after the third quarter. He's only taken 2 free throws. And Andrew Nembhard continues to be a pest, but Shai Gilgeous-Alexander kind of got his rhythm in that second quarter when Nembhard was on the bench. Then in the fourth quarter, SGA just explodes. Scores 15 points. He had a tough step back 3. Obviously he hits, the step back jumper over Aaron Nesmith where he, shoves him. That call is frustrating. It's really funny watching this series after watching the Knicks series because like the Thunder wanted to get Aaron Nesmith switched onto Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And when that happened, he scored. The Pacers had no answer for him down the stretch. And it started to make me think about Jalen Brunson in that Knicks series. Okay, because it's so funny because Aaron Nesmith is an excellent defender. Everyone who's watched the Pacers this year knows that. Andrew Nembhard is an excellent defender. Everyone who's watched this series and has watched the Pacers all year knows that. And in the series against the Knicks were trying to do everything possible to get anyone not named Aaron Nesmith off of Jalen Brunson. They're like, we'll go at Nembhard, we'll go at Haliburton, we'll go at Turner, we'll go at anyone not named Aaron Nesmith. And then in this series, The Thunder are doing the exact same thing. You know, it's like we want Shai Gilgeous-Alexander attacking anyone not named Andrew Nembhard. And in the series against the Knicks, it felt like the Pacers had a rule. It's like no matter who's guarding the screener, when Jalen Brunson has the basketball, you do not switch. We want to keep Aaron Nesmith on Jalen Brunson no matter what. And a similar rule needs to be put into place for the Indiana Pacers in this series, where it's, I don't care who the screener is, if it's Jalen Williams, and, because, switching Andrew Nembhard onto Jalen Williams and Aaron Nesmith onto Shai Gilgeous-Alexander doesn't sound like a bad option. It doesn't. But it is, because Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is clearly much more comfortable with Aaron Nesmith defending him opposed to Andrew Nembhard. So they need a similar rule in this series where they keep Andrew Nembhard on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander no matter what. He has done the best job defending the MVP by far of anyone else, not just on the Pacers, but of anyone else in these playoffs, period. Andrew Nembhard has to be the primary defender on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander for the rest of the series. It's to a point for me where I would love it if Coach Carlisle found a way to match Andrew Nembhard's minutes with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's. Because that second quarter, everyone's going to talk about the fourth quarter, and, like I did 10 minutes on the Thunder's defense in the final 3 minutes and 20 seconds where the Pacers only scored 1 point. But I think a large part of why Shai Gilgeous-Alexander scored 15 points in that fourth quarter is because his offensive rhythm was established in the second quarter with Andrew Nembhard on the bench. He has to stay on the floor to defend Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And like I said, tonight, empty the tanks. Your defense is better when Andrew Nembhard's on the floor. Keep him out there, especially during the minutes when Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is out there, because he's been by far your best defender. Ross Campbell chiming in over on the YouTube chat, asking me, what's your take on the Dort elbow to Haliburton's head during Matherin's free throw? Dirty, flop, or both? I think it's both. But you can kind of see they're both kind of hand fighting, and then Dort does what Lou Dort does. And I honestly think that if anyone not named Lou Dort had done that, then there would have been a foul. Lou Dort is in this Draymond Green area with officials where, because he has this reputation as a good defender, and because he has this reputation as this big physical guy, he just gets away with more. And it's really frustrating. There's a clip, on X making the rounds where Haliburton's running to grab this dribble handoff, and he gets, a nice little two-handed shove in the back from Lou Dort. It ends up being a turnover. Alex Caruso breaks free, and he gets a layup. And that has been a theme of this series. If the officials, and I hate talking about the officials because, were they important in that game? Yes, but, the Thunder only took 5 more free throws than the Pacers did. And that's after the Pacers are fouling late to keep, to keep time on from running off the clock. So I didn't think that it was as lopsided as Pacer fans and Thunder fans. Thunder fans didn't like the officiating either. The officials called 4 fouls on defensive rebounds on the Thunder. They were calling fouls on box outs, which never happens. Okay, it was one of those rare games where Pacer fans hated the officiating, Thunder fans hated the officiating, Thunder players hated the officiating, the Pacer players, both coaches hated the officiating. It was just really an all-around night from Scott Foster. No one had a good time dealing with the officials in that game. With that being said, I do think that Caruso and Dort have been given a lot of leeway in the series. I do think that they've tightened up on Caruso quite a bit. But if I'm the Pacers, after every game, teams have the opportunity to send calls into the league and or non-calls into the league and ask about them. Every hand check from Lou Dort, every hand check from Alex Caruso, the shove in the back on Tyrese Haliburton, the elbow that Ross brought up over on the YouTube chat, Indie Sports Ticket. If you want to head over there, subscribe, and hop in the chat to ask questions. like everything like that, like should be sent into the NBA in hopes that they fix it tonight. Because if the officials are going to allow for Lou Dort and Alex Caruso to be super handsy and super physical 35 feet away from the basket, the Pacers half-court offense is going to look very similar to what it looked like in the fourth quarter of Game 4. So while I don't think that the Pacers lost the game because of officiating, I do think that the officiating could have been better. They lost the game because Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, played really well in the fourth quarter and in the second half. They lost the game because Jalen Williams was really good. And there's a theme of this series. Every single team every game that's been won in this series, this one very specific thing has happened. And so when we come back here in about 4 minutes, I'm going to talk about Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren and how problematic they were for the Pacers. And then I'm going to tell you what that one thing is. The one thing that has happened, game in and game out, that has decided the winner of every game of this series. I'm going to tell you what it is when we come back here in about 4 minutes.
The best takes. Maybe. The Real Jonathan Smith Show on Indy Sports Ticket 1430 AM, 93.9 HD2, and always on the free Indy Sports Ticket app.
What's going on? Welcome back to the Real Jonathan Smith Show here on Indy Sports Ticket. Thank you for tuning in, no matter how you're tuning in, whether that's YouTube, Indy Sports Ticket. If you head over there and subscribe, maybe you're watching on X__Jonathan Smith to watch the stream and to follow me there. You can also listen on that Indy Sports Ticket app. You can also listen on 1430 AM. No matter how you're listening, though, I greatly appreciate it as we continue to talk Pacers Game 5 tonight against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Looking back on Game 4 a little bit as well. And when you look back on Game 4, Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren were both extremely impactful. The Thunder don't win that game without Jalen Williams. He kept the Thunder in it in the first half. He had 16 points at the end of the first half on 4 of 8 shooting, and he was 8 of 8 from the foul line. And look, when you look at all the games that the Thunder have lost throughout the playoffs, it's usually when Jalen Williams doesn't play well. The Pacers have to do a much better job of containing him. The Thunder struggle to win when they don't play well. Like Game 1, he wasn't good. Game 3 wasn't very good. Pretty average in that game. Right? Like he has to be stopped. No way around it. Aaron Nesmith, he's just hasn't been as good defensively in this series as we're accustomed to seeing him be. You know, they're picking on him late in games. Jalen Williams just kind of has his way. Like 8 foul, like they have to keep Jalen Williams off the foul line. And the issue is Aaron Nesmith is averaging over 5 fouls per 36 minutes. So he usually doesn't play 36 minutes. But if he would foul out. He's fouled out 2 games in a row. So like he's got to find a way to defend Jalen Williams without fouling. Because like he's not shooting the ball super great from the floor. Before Game 4, he wasn't at least. Okay, but when you put a guy at the foul line, they find rhythm. All of a sudden, you know, that little step back jumper that Jalen Williams likes starts to fall, and then you're worried about that. So now he's getting to the rim, and then, oh no, you just fouled him again. Like, it's not good. Aaron Nesmith has to do a better job defensively defending Jalen Williams. They do. Like, they're not winning if Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Jalen Williams both play well. And then, if Chet Holmgren goes for 14 points and 15 rebounds on top of it, good luck. Chet Holmgren rolled his ankle early, just kept going. He was very impactful, especially late in that game. You know, he had a couple switches where, you know, he's having to defend Haliburton, and Haliburton didn't score. He settled for a tough step-back jumper over the top, and that's really tough. Someone chiming in on YouTube asking if Game 6 is on Thursday. Yes, correct. So Jalen Williams was he was legitimately the Thunder's best or second best player for 4 quarters. If the Pacers had gotten that kind of performance from Pascal Siakam, then the Pacers probably win that game. But they didn't. And so they lose. Like Siakam has to play level 2 or better than Jalen Williams in order for the Pacers to win. It has to happen. It didn't happen in Game 4, at least not for the entire game, and they lost. And as important as that is, and look, we're going to come back to it probably tomorrow. We're going to talk about Jalen Williams and whether or not he was good, because when he's good, the Thunder are really tough. But even though he was really good and Chet Holmgren was impactful late in the game, the Thunder don't win that game without Alex Caruso. Alex Caruso had 20 points off the Thunder's bench, and the Pacers very simply cannot survive that. They have no way to do it. He only made 1 3. All his other points came off of him running, you know, getting out in transition or cutting. But he's ultimately why the Thunder won that game. He played excellent defense, and he was the best offensive player that's not a star in Game 4. 20 points on 7 of 9 shooting. He got to the foul line 7 times as well. Obi Toppin was good. He was the Pacers' best non-star. He had 17 points on 7 of 12 shooting. That's a really good game. But Alex Caruso was better. And whichever team's bench has been better has won every game in this series. Game 1, Obi Toppin off the bench was spectacular. He made 5 threes. It was a large part of why the Pacers shot like 46% from 3 in Game 1. Game 2, it's the Aaron Wiggins and Alex Caruso game where they combine to hit 9 threes. Alex Caruso scores 20, and Aaron Wiggins scores 18. The Thunder win that game. Game 3, that was the TJ McConnell and Benedict Mathurin game, where Mathurin scores 27 points in 22 minutes, and TJ McConnell does all of the things that apparently only TJ McConnell can do. And the Pacers won that game because their bench was better. And then game 4, the Thunder's bench was better because Alex Caruso was outstanding. He was the best bench player in the game. Obi Toppin was good, not as good as Alex Caruso. And then TJ McConnell and Benedict Mathurin were pretty forgettable. TJ McConnell, don't even remember him playing in the game. Benedict Mathurin only took 2 shots. And the only reason why I remember Benedict Mathurin playing in the game is because he missed 3 straight free throws late. The third guy for the Pacers wasn't good enough in game 4. That's why they lost. They also didn't have a fourth guy. There was no fourth guy. And this is where it gets really frustrating because there are 2 players for the Indiana Pacers that, before the NBA Finals started, I was having to mention them time and time again as the potential who's the third guy. Aaron Nesmith and Miles Turner both struggled again in game 4. Can't happen. They didn't get the Pacers as a whole. Didn't get enough contributions from everyone that played 12 minutes or more. Mathurin only took 2 shots. McConnell, very forgettable. Ben Shepherd was fine. And the whole who's the third guy question has been an important part of this run for the Pacers throughout these playoffs. And Aaron Nesmith and Miles Turner have been candidates a lot throughout this run. And they just haven't been good enough. Like, here's what Miles Turner has done through the first 4 games of this series. Okay, so game 4, he had 12 points and 2 rebounds. That's and he committed 5 fouls. Jeez. Game 3, he scored 9 points. He had 5 blocks, right? He was very impactful in the final 6 minutes of that game, but before the final 6 minutes, he wasn't very good at all. Game 2, he played decently well. 6 of 12 from the field, scored 16 points, had 4 assists, 4 rebounds, was only 1 of 5 from 3. And then game 1, he was all right. 15 points, 3 blocks, 9 rebounds, 2 of 5 from 3, 5 of 10 from the field, but he turned the ball over 6 times. Like, he hasn't been good. Or he hasn't been good enough. He's averaging 13 points, only shooting 40% from the field, and he's only shooting 20% from 3. It's got to be better than that. He's only shooting 20% from 3. This is a guy who shot the ball so much better than that during the regular season. Now, I understand that Miles Turner's been sick, and he's had some good moments in the series, down the stretch of game 3. The final 6 minutes were awesome. In game 1, he banked in that step back 3. Aside from that, he's been pretty forgettable. It's why they're having to go small so much and play Obi Toppin at the 5. It's because of the lack of offense for Miles Turner. He posted a career high in 3-point shooting percentage this year, just under 40%. Only shooting 20% from 3 in this series. And it's not like he's getting bad looks. Like, he's getting some halfway decent looks. And that Tyrese Haliburton to Miles Turner pick and pop is a large part of this Pacers offense. And it's been non-existent in this series because Miles Turner has shot the ball so poorly. Once again, on good looks. 0 of 6 from 3 in game 4. He's got to be better than that. And look, like, if the 3's not falling, like, go to the rim. I will say I appreciate that he took 6 free throws in game 4. Right? He had a nice little, like, one-legged fadeaway from the elbow. Like, more of that. Like, he's got to score. That Miles Turner, Tyrese Haliburton pick and pop has got to be a little more lethal than what it has been so far in this series. Now, he's due for a breakout game. Hopefully he's not sick anymore. But he's due for a night where he goes like 4 or 6 from 3. And I hope it's tonight. It's either going to have to be tonight or in game 7. Because like they're going to need some sort of performance like that from a role player if they want to win another game on the road in Oklahoma City. He's due. And I love Haliburton, love Siakam. But if they're going to win another one on the road, they're going to need all the offense that they can get from not just Miles Turner, but from everybody. Which brings me to Aaron Nesmith, who hasn't, been super great in this series either. 8 points in game 4. He fouled out. 7 points in game 3. He fouled out. 14 points in game 2. Not bad. 4 of 8 from 3. 10 points in game 1. He did have 12 rebounds. He also turned the ball over 5 times. But like that's the thing. Like he's been okay. Like he hasn't been much better than Miles Turner. Like I said, he's fouled out twice in a row. After playing excellent defense on Jalen Williams in game 1, he hasn't really bothered him much since. He's fouling way too much. He keeps putting Jalen Williams or Shai Gilgeous-Alexander on the free throw line, and like that can't happen. He had 12 rebounds in game 1. He had 9 in game 4, but none of them felt important. Aaron Nesmith is the guy who plays solid all game, and he hits a 3 from time to time, and you kind of notice him. And then when you need a big shot to stay in the game, like the 3 that he hit in the corner of game 1, he hits it. Or if you need a big stop, he's the one who gets that big stop. Or if you need a big rebound, he's the guy who goes and gets it. Game 1, his 12th rebound came off that missed free throw. He goes up and he just snatches it out of the air and he finds Haliburton. And then Haliburton obviously runs down the floor and he hits the game winner. He hasn't done that in this series, aside from game 1. Like, come on. He hasn't made any big plays aside from that 3 in the corner and that 12th rebound. And his defense hasn't been as impactful as it normally is. He has to find a way to get back to who he was. The role player that makes big plays in big spots. He didn't do it in game 4, and he had chances. If he stops Shai Gilgeous-Alexander once, then the Pacers' chances of winning that game go up. If he makes, any of his 2-point shots, Pacers' chances to win that game go up. 0 of 4 from inside the arc. Come on now. Got to be better than that. If he doesn't foul out, he's taking those free throws instead of Benedict Mathurin. He's the Pacers' best free throw shooter. He's like a 92% foul shooter. He probably makes all 3 of those. And then we've got an interesting game down the stretch where we look to see if the Oklahoma City Thunder can inbound the basketball or not. He has to be heard from at some point in this series, whether it's tonight, game 6, or game 7, if we even get to that point. If the Pacers want to win the series. And he shot the ball pretty well from 3. He's at 46% on the series, but he needs to hit them in big spots. That's kind of the thing that I'm waiting on for him. He's also been abysmal from inside the arc. Like game 1, he didn't make a 2-point shot. He was 0 of 2. Game 2, he was 1 of 3 from inside the arc. Game 3, he was decent. He was 2 of 3, and then last night 0 of 4. So he's got to be better inside the arc as well, finishing at the rim. And he's got a nice little mid-range jumper that he hasn't really hit, like a nice little one dribble pull-up that he hasn't made hardly at all in this series. So he's got to be better if the Pacers want any chance to win tonight, and if they want any sort of chance to win this series. When we come back, top of the hour, 11 o'clock, we're going to really focus in on game 5 tonight. What has to happen? What do the Pacers need to do in order to pull this out? They've got to bounce back. That's really the biggest thing. You got to flush game 4 and get ready for the game tonight. We'll talk about it when we come back at 11 o'clock.
do this. It's the Real Jonathan Smith Show on Indy Sports Ticket, 1430 AM, 93.9 HD2, and always on the free Indy Sports Ticket app.
Welcome back to the Real Jonathan Smith Show here on Indy Sports Ticket. Thank you for tuning in, no matter how you're tuning in, whether that's YouTube, Indy Sports Ticket, for to head over there and subscribe. Maybe you're watching on X__Jonathan Smith if you want to follow me there. And as always, you can also listen on that Indy Sports Ticket app, which you can download wherever you find your apps. And you can also listen on 1430 AM. Greatly appreciate it, no matter how you are listening. Game 5 tonight between the Pacers and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Big one here. Big one tonight. Series tied 2-2. And that really feels like the correct score of the series. Pacers probably shouldn't have won game 1. Thunder probably shouldn't have won game 4. It's best of 3 from here on out. And based on how the series was discussed, before it started, like I'm kind of cool with best 2 or 3. Let's win game 5. Let's win game 6, and let's call it a night. Okay? Or, lose game 5, win game 6, 7. Like, that's fine too. Okay? And I'm so intrigued to see what tonight's game looks like. Because it's really important. But, we've not only had kind of this, back and forth thing, like the Pacers have won every other game. They've lost every other game so far in this series. But something that I'm really curious to see from the Pacers tonight is they win game 1 in pretty dramatic fashion. They come back and they win. And then the Thunder responded in a big way. Game 2 crushed the Pacers. And I'm kind of hoping we see the same thing tonight from the Indiana Pacers. They lose game 4. Just it's the first time all playoffs long that they've legitimately blown a lead. And I'm just very intrigued to see how they respond to having that happen. Tyrese Haliburton was asked yesterday, about flushing game 4, kind of how do you move on from blowing a lead? And here's what Tyrese Haliburton had to say.
Still a lot of games to be played. There's still a lot that can happen. I think once you get to the playoffs, I don't think it's so much about flushing things, because you really got to take every game, see where you did well, see where you could do better, and learn from that. So I think in the regular season, it's different. You play 82 games, play a team game 10 that you probably don't see again until game 60. So it's just all right, flush it and move on to the next. In the playoffs, it's a little different. You don't really get the right to flush games. You got to learn from everything and watch the film and see where you can get better in every area. So, game 4 didn't end the way we wanted it to. But the biggest thing is you can't let one spiral into 2. You can't take the disappointment of that game and let it be a snowball effect. It's you got to be ready to go for game 5 here again, the hostile environment, and we're both 2 games away. So anything can happen from here, and so you just got to kind of move on as quickly as you can, see where you can get better, watch the film, which we've done a lot of over the last 2 days. Have a good practice today, and get ready to go for tomorrow.
Pacers superstar point guard Tyrese Haliburton right there talking about flushing game 4 and just kind of how to move on from tough losses. And it's really important. It is. Because you're going to lose games like this, and then you've got 2 days where you just have to sit around and think about it, and you're just chomping at the bit to get back out there and play another game. And look, the Pacers had an opportunity in game 3 to, take control of the series, go up 3-1. They have that opportunity tonight as well. Even if they had won game 4, they probably weren't going to going to win game 5. Chances are it was going to be 3-2 coming out of this game either way. And for the Pacers, it can still be 3-2. It can still be 3-2. If they can just take control of the series tonight, they're going to make adjustments. And that's cool. But at this point in the series, it's about your dudes. You can make as many adjustments as you want to. But at this point, you've played just about every card. Guys are falling out of the series, if that makes sense. You say, Jonathan, what do you mean by falling out of the series? Coming into this, if you just looked at these 2 teams, right, and you looked at just kind of the number of players that you felt were playable in the series, there were a lot. Coming into the series, it's Mathurin could probably, he's going to play a lot, and McConnell's going to play a lot, and Thomas Bryant's going to get some minutes. And no, like you look at the Pacers now, and I feel good about like 5.5 guys being good and impactful. And that's really it. The starting 5 and Obi Toppin. Like when McConnell comes in, I'm like, this is either going to be great or it's going to be really bad. And it's the same thing with Mathurin. And for Ben Shepherd, I'm like, yeah, like he might hit a 3, but he's really just kind of out there to play some decent defense. And then the Thunder are kind of dealing with the same thing. They are. Like, they don't really trust Kenrich Williams. Cason Wallace was starting. He's not starting anymore. You know, Aaron Wiggins played a lot in games 1 and 2. Hasn't really played since. Isaiah Joe is good for like 5 minutes a game, maybe. Like, the Thunder legitimately trust their starting 5. Well, not really even that. Like, Isaiah Hardenstein, his minutes haven't been good. He's been like a 0 on offense in the series. So they trust 4 of their 5 guys. You know, Chet, Jalen Williams, SGA, Lou Dort, and Alex Caruso. And like, I'm just not convinced that they trust anybody else. It's like both teams, both coaches are just praying that they get something from anyone not named any of those guys. And that's why it's been really important for the benches to be good in this series. And if the Pacers bench can be good tonight, you know, if Benedict Mathurin, he didn't have to score 27 like he did in game 3, but can you score 12? You know, on like 4 of 9 shooting, that would be great. Can TJ McConnell just, I don't even care if he scores. Like, can he just keep the pace of the game up? Because if the Pacers are going to retake control of the series tonight, like that's going to have to happen. It's about your guys at this point. Okay, Coach Carlisle he's throwing the kitchen sink at the Thunder, and like there's like nothing left to throw. They have an opportunity to respond tonight and to win a second game on the road in Oklahoma City. The Pacers have been a very good road team in these playoffs, and it's going to have to continue tonight. And Tyrese Haliburton was asked about the opportunity to respond after losing a tough game 4 and just kind of what game 5 means. Here he is talking about that yesterday.
I feel great. It's the best part about playoff series is, when you get the chance to respond. I think that's the great thing about sports. You know, it's you're going to have good games, you're going to have bad games, but there's nothing like the game to respond, you know? So I look forward to doing that with this group and, coming out and competing. And, we got to be ready for a really big challenge that lies ahead with this team and in this environment. So I'm really looking forward to doing that with my teammates and seeing, how we respond.
Tyrese Haliburton right there talking about, seeing the importance of responding after a tough game 4 loss. And he's a pro. He's a pro's pro. All right. So he's going to be fine. Right. And we'll see how they do. The Pacers, they're going to hang tough tonight. I expect this game to be really close the whole way. I think Tyrese Haliburton has finally figured out parts, not all of, but parts of this Oklahoma City defense. Pascal Siakam has had some awesome stretches. He's been really good when the Pacers have gotten in the ball. So if they can just consistently get him touches, then he's going to have a good night tonight. Question is, everyone else. Can Obi Toppin continue to be impactful off the bench? Can anyone else off the bench put together like a short 2-minute stint where they're just really good? Okay, like I'm telling you right now that Alex Caruso or Cason Wallace off the Thunder bench are going to make a big play late if they're given the opportunity. That's going to be the difference in the game. Can the guys for the Pacers, can the Miles Turners and the Aaron Nesmiths and the Obi Toppins and the Benedict Mathurins and the TJ McConnells, can they find a way to make that play? Because that's been the difference in these first 4 games. It's been the role players. Like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, been pretty similar in every game. Jalen Williams, same thing. Tyrese Haliburton and Pascal Siakam. You know what you're getting from them at this point. What about everyone else? Does Aaron Nesmith have a game where he shoots, 5 of 9 from 3? Does Miles Turner finally have a big game where he, shoots 3 of 6 from 3 and that Haliburton and Miles Turner pick and pop is really working? That'd be great. But that is what is going to dictate the outcome of this game. If the Pacers role players are better than the Thunders, then they will win. If the Thunder's role players are better than the Pacers' role players, then the Pacers will lose. It is really that simple. It has defined the series so far, and it's probably going to define Game 5 tonight. Game 4, however, looking back on it, it was really a tale of two halves. Okay, the Indiana Pacers, first half, they really controlled it. Ball was moving up and down the floor. Second half, it was not. It was more of an Oklahoma City style game. The Pacers took 44 shots. The Thunder took 43 in that first half. Like I said, the pace was up. The Pacers were trending in a direction where they were going to, set a series high for the number of field goal attempts that they took in a game. And then the second half happened, and the Thunder were like, you were absolutely not going to do that. We are going to grind this game to a halt. And the Pacers took 36 shots, and the Thunder took 35. The game slowed down completely. It became much more of a half-court game. And the Thunder are a better half-court team on both sides of the ball than the Pacers are. They run better half-court offense because when in doubt, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who was great in the fourth quarter, can make a play for them whenever he needs to. Jalen Williams, same thing. He made so many plays for them in that first half to keep them in the game. Okay, and then the half-court defense, I don't think I have to really elaborate on. You've seen it all series. They took the Pacers out of their rhythm entirely in the final 3 minutes and 20 seconds of that game. The Pacers scored 1 point in the final 3 minutes and 20 seconds. I know people want to blame the refs, and the refs weren't very good, but the Thunder's defense was incredible. The Pacers couldn't start their offense within 30 feet of the basket. Look, you can run as many dribble handoffs as you want 30 feet away from the bucket. Doesn't do anything. It's not bending the defense. They're not saying, oh, crap, or anything like that. A DHO 30 feet from the basket. Come on now. Lu Dort's strength and mobility gave Tyrese Haliburton a lot of issues in that fourth quarter. Kind of struggled to get by him in some different stretches. Pascal Siakam completely disappeared. So he took one shot in that fourth quarter. And then, that's partially because the Pacers couldn't get him the ball. I'm sure they were trying to, but the Thunder's pressure defense didn't allow them to get the ball to Siakam. And so, yeah, like the officials in Game 4 were terrible, but the Thunder defense in the final, 3.5 minutes of that game was just brutal. Like the Pacers just scored 17 points in the fourth quarter. Like that's not good. They scored 60 points in the first half, and in the second half, the Pacers only scored 44. Pacers offense wasn't good, and it was because the game slowed down and the ball stopped moving. This is another really important number. The Pacers had 15 assists in that first half, pacing for 30. And when the Pacers get 30 assists, that means the offense is humming. They only had 6 assists in the second half. The Pacers aren't going to win if they only have 21 assists as a team. Like, they're just not going to score enough if that's the case. Whereas the Thunder can win games where they only have 8 assists because Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Jalen Williams are both excellent one-on-one players. And they don't need anyone else to help them get a shot. For the Pacers, like, they just don't have any one-on-one players as good as what Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Jalen Williams are. And I have said all series that if Tyrese Haliburton can get to that 10 assist mark, then the Pacers will win. If he's around 8, it'll be close. And 6 assists or less isn't going to be enough. He had 7 on Friday night. And they had a chance. If he gets, if he picks up 3 assists in the final 3 minutes of that game, then they probably win. But their offense just completely fell apart late in that fourth quarter. And Game 5, if it looks like the first half where the ball's up and down and the Pacers are running and, Siakam's, forcing turnovers. He had 4 steals in the first quarter. And, then on offense, the ball's moving and it's popping around the perimeter and guys are cutting and finishing at the rim and all that kind of stuff, then the Pacers are probably going to win. But if it turns into a slower pace game where the Thunder get to set their defense every time down, the Pacers aren't winning that game. They're just not. The half-court offense isn't good enough to consistently beat this Thunder half-court defense. Okay, they have to get to 110 points. That is the magic number for the Indiana Pacers. If they can score 110 points, pretty decent chance that they're going to win the game. If they can get to that number, then I'm going to feel pretty good about their chances. The issue is they're only getting that number if they can get out and run. The pace has to be faster if they want to win tonight. Up and down, ball's got to hop around. It has to look like a normal Indiana Pacers basketball game if they want any sort of chance to win that game. When we come back here in about 4 minutes, obviously the director of the pace is Tyrese Haliburton. We're going to talk about him in Game 4, what he can do tonight in Game 5 to be a little bit better, because I didn't think he was bad in Game 4. I didn't really think he was great either, but I did think that he was good enough for the Pacers to win that game. I'll tell you why when we come back here in about 4 minutes.
fits in today's sports world. It's here. The real Jonathan Smith Show on Indy Sports Ticket 1430 AM, 93.9 HD2, and always on the free Indy Sports Ticket app.
Welcome back to the real Jonathan Smith Show here on Indy Sports Ticket. Thank you for tuning in, no matter how you're tuning in, whether that's YouTube, Indy Sports Ticket. Head over there and subscribe. Maybe you're watching on X, _ Jonathan Smith. If you want to follow me there and watch the show there, you can also listen on that Indy Sports Ticket app, which you can download wherever you find your apps. And you can also listen on 1430 AM, just in your car. Just turn that dial and let's get it rolling. Tyrese Haliburton was okay. He was good enough to win in game 4. Got to be better tonight, though, because if you're going on the road, your stars have to be stars in every sense of the word. And 18 points and 7 assists from Tyrese Haliburton, not great. Like, it's fine, but it's not great. It's good. It's good enough at home. But on the road, like 20 and 10 tonight. That's what the Pacers need from him. And if the Thunder do what they did in game 4, and by that, I mean the Thunder started the game by doubling and trapping Tyrese Haliburton when he came off screens. I hope they do that again tonight. Part of why the ball moved so well in the first quarter, part of why the first quarter was the Pacers' highest scoring quarter of the game in game 4 on Friday, was because the Thunder kept putting 2 on Tyrese Haliburton. He's too good of a passer, too smart of a player to not beat that coverage consistently. Right? And Tyrese Haliburton tore it up. Multiple assists in that first quarter. Okay, just moving the ball all over the place, and it led to really good offense for the Pacers. And then, the Thunder stopped doubling him, and then you just see the Pacers points by quarter just slowly tick down. Now, Tyrese Haliburton hit his first shot of game 4. It's a big deal. It was like a 30-footer from straight away, barely in front of the logo. It's important for him. And he ended up taking 15 shots. He finally took some free throws in the series. Okay, he was consistently aggressive the whole game, even in that fourth quarter. He had 8 in the fourth. And the biggest thing whenever I watch him is just how much better the offense looks whenever he's on the floor. Like, he doesn't even have to score. The offense just moves better. Guys cut more. Guys set better screens. The pace stays up. It's why he's a superstar. He doesn't have to score to make his teammates better. Just his mere presence in the game makes everyone else around him better, and that's another characteristic of a superstar. Okay, at the end of the first half, his numbers are kind of underwhelming. 8 points on 3 of 6 shooting with 5 assists. Okay, he did have 3 turnovers, which was too many, but the assists, 5 assists, he's pacing for 10. Okay, he had 1 less assist than the entire Thunder team did in that first half. The Thunder team had 6 assists at halftime. To finish the game, Tyrese Haliburton had 18 points and 7 assists. He did have 5 turnovers, which is too many, but I thought he played well enough for the Pacers to win that game. 18 points and 7 assists is a relatively normal night from him. Yeah, the Pacers are a team in every sense of the word. Everyone has to play well. Everyone has to play well. Miles Turner continues to struggle. That struggle needs to stop. Like, right now. He was 3 of 10 from the field and 0 of 6 from 3. Tough to win games when that's what you get from your starting center. Aaron Nesmith, 2 of 9 from the field. Missed every 2-point shot that he took. Tough to win when a guy like Aaron Nesmith, who's a very important and valuable part of this Pacers team, struggles to score the basketball that much. Benedict Mathurin, not very good off the bench. He took 2 shots in 14 minutes. He missed 3 free throws late that could have kept the Pacers in the game just a little bit longer. In addition to that, Rick Carlisle didn't want that dude on the floor. He wasn't good. The only reason why Benedict Mathurin played 14 minutes is because Aaron Nesmith fouled out. TJ McConnell off the bench was incredibly forgettable. I don't remember a thing that TJ McConnell did in that game. Do you remember any play that he made? Didn't make any. He definitely didn't make any in that second half. This just wasn't a good game 4, from the others. That has to change tonight. Because even late in the game, Tyrese Haliburton was good. Went strong to the rim repeatedly in that fourth quarter. and he finished a few really tough layups. You know, the Thunder committed to making him a driver. And he was like, okay, because he's a really good finisher at the rim. Like in the fourth quarter, every time he went to the rim, I mean, he was good. Every time he went to the rim, it felt like he scored. It was when he got into that, I want to cross over, step back, and shoot a three over the 7'1" Chet Holmgren. That's when the shots for him stopped falling. But when he got to the rim, man, he was so good. He had that really tough up and under finish in the second quarter. The Thunder committed to making him a driver. He was really good driving to the rim. If only the Pacers' second best player had shown up and had been as impactful as the Pacers needed him to be. Pascal Siakam got off to a great start on Friday night. Hit his first three. He wasn't posting up early, but like he didn't have to. You know, the ball was just rocketing all over the floor, and he was running really well in transition. And, you know, he had 8 points and 4 steals, 9.5 minutes into the game. I just remember sitting at home like, this is going to be an awesome Pascal Siakam night. And then after that first quarter, he just slowly faded into oblivion. He had 14 points on 5 of 9 shooting at halftime. You know, like, which is good on the surface. It's like, oh, like a 14-point half, shooting over 50% from the floor. Like, oh, that's good. Then you realize it's like, oh, he only scored 6 points, and that's in that second quarter. Like, that's not terrible. You know, he posted up a little bit more. But at halftime, it kind of felt like we were going to get an awesome Pascal Siakam game. And then he scored six points in the second half. All 6 of those points came in the third quarter. He only took 1 shot in the fourth. And that's something that can't happen. And that's not his fault. It's also not everyone else's fault. It's everybody's fault. You know, I'm a believer that very, very few things in life and in basketball are solely one person's fault. Okay? Like now, you know, you could do like a blame pie thing and be like, Pascal Siakam only taking 1 shot in the fourth quarter is 60% his fault, 40% everyone else's fault. But ultimately, like the Pacers didn't give him the basketball enough. They didn't. Okay, but at the same time, he didn't do enough off the ball to earn the basketball. And, you know, if the Pacers had gotten the Pascal Siakam that they'd gotten in the first 3 quarters of game 4 in that fourth quarter, then they probably would have won that game. But the Thunder defense did a really good job of not allowing for the Pacers to get him the basketball. But at the same time, the Pacers have to figure out ways to get it to him because he's the only favorable matchup that they have in this series. He can't go a full quarter, especially the fourth quarter, where he only takes 1 shot. Coach Carlisle was asked yesterday why Siakam only got 1 shot up in the fourth quarter. Here's what he had to say.
That can't happen. He's a guy that, you know, if we're not playing through him, he needs to touch the ball more. Problems that hindered us in the fourth quarter were inability to rebound the ball, unnecessary fouls. You know, those things have us taking the ball out of bounds after they score or having to take it out after a free throw, and then they can really set their defense, and then, you know, the game becomes slower. So, you know, those doing better in those 2 areas, the rebounding and the fouls, I mean, that will help us, but it's a challenge. I mean, they put a lot of pressure on you in the fourth quarter. I mean, they've got some great players that, you know, cause major problems.
Coach Carlisle right there talking about the Thunder and their defense. And he's right. Like, they've got great players that cause major problems. With that being said, Pascal Siakam has to be more aggressive, and the Pacers have to do a better job of getting him the basketball. Now, it'd be easier if they could start their offense within, you know, 30 feet of the basket. But even if you're not, you've got to figure out a way to get him the ball. Because you know that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is going to get the ball for the Thunder. And you know that Jalen Williams is going to get the ball for the Thunder. And you have to ensure that your 2 best players, Tyrese Haliburton and Pascal Siakam, get consistent touches tonight. And then, you've got to continue to play really good defense on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. It was a slow build for him in game 4. He got off to a pretty slow start, 4 points on 205 shooting after that first quarter. Nembhard was doing a really good job of being physical without fouling and really making him work. And then in the second quarter, the Thunder switched up how they rested Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. So we started the second quarter, which he normally doesn't do. Nembhard goes to the bench, and all of a sudden, SGA scores 8 points in the second quarter because Andrew Nembhard wasn't on the floor. So he goes into halftime. He's got 12 points on 6 of 11 shooting, and most of those points came with Nembhard on the bench. And he found his rhythm, and it was fully established. And then third quarter happens. Nembhard continues to be a pest, and it's like, yeah, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's got 20 points, but it's taken him 18 shots to get there. He'd only taken 2 free throws till that point. Then in the fourth quarter, he explodes, and he hits multiple big shots down the stretch. They got Aaron Nesmith switched onto him, and he went to work, and the Pacers quite simply had no answer for him. Well, they had one, Andrew Nembhard, but the Thunder did a really good job of getting Andrew Nembhard off of him. And watching the fourth quarter, it just reminded me of the Knicks series so much and how the Pacers had to deal with Jalen Brunson. Against the Knicks, it felt like the Pacers had this rule where it was like, no matter who's guarding the screener, you do not switch. They wanted to keep Aaron Nesmith on Jalen Brunson in that Knicks series, no matter what, because Jalen Brunson was clearly at his most uncomfortable when the size and length of Aaron Nesmith was defending him. So even if, the Knicks were trying to get Andrew Nembhard switched on to Jalen Brunson, there was a clear effort from the Pacers to make sure that didn't happen, to make sure it was Aaron Nesmith on him the entire game. That rule needs to be instituted for this series. They have to keep Andrew Nembhard on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander no matter what. He's done the best job on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander by far of anyone else on the Pacers. And he has to, remain the main matchup on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. This probably won't happen, but I want for Coach Carlisle to match Andrew Nembhard's minutes with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's. He can do it. Like, look, Andrew Nembhard played 36 minutes in game 4. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander played 40. Like, leave him out there. He needs to be the primary defender on SGA every time out. Every time out. Because he has been the best defender on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, not just in this series, but in the playoffs in general. No one has made SGA work anywhere near as hard as Andrew Nembhard has made him work throughout, the first 4 games of this series. And he's got to do it again tonight. It's going to be tough because you're on the road. You're in Oklahoma City, a really tough place to win. But if you want to win, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has to have a pretty similar game 5 tonight as to what he had in game 4. Minus the fourth quarter where he explodes for 15 points and he takes 8 free throws in the fourth quarter. He had 0 assists. That's something that needs to happen again. Okay, the Oklahoma City Thunder were even in the 40 minutes that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was on the floor. The 8 minutes that he was off the floor, the Thunder won those minutes by 7. And it's because of the benches in this series. We have seen it time and time and time again. Throughout these first 4 games, it's about the bench. It's about the others. It's a trend, and I'm going to talk more about it when we come back here in about 4 minutes.
may, one day, be a must-listen for sports enthusiasts.
Yeah, and monkeys might fly out of my butt.
The Real Jonathan Smith Show on Indy Sports Ticket 1430 AM, 93.9 HD2, and always on the free Indy Sports Ticket app.
Welcome back to the Real Jonathan Smith Show here on Indy Sports Ticket. Thanks for tuning in, no matter how you're tuning in, whether that's YouTube, Indy Sports Ticket. If you want to head over there and subscribe, maybe watch it on X__Jonathan Smith. If you want to watch the show there, you can follow me there as well. You can also listen to the show and the Dan Dockett Show from noon to 3 on the Indy Sports Ticket app. You can also listen to the show as well on 1430 AM. No matter how you're listening, it is always greatly appreciated. And hopefully you're able to watch the game tonight. And coming into the game, you're going to turn on ABC. And you're going to see Stephen A. Smith and Kendrick Perkins and Malika Andrews and what's his name? Gosh dang, it's going to bother me. The former president of basketball operations of the Golden State Warriors, Bob Myers. Bob Myers? Let's go with that. I'm actually going to look that up because it's going to bother me until I can remember. So, yeah, Bob Myers. Look at me go. Anyway, and they're going to talk about Haliburton and how he needs to step up. And they're going to talk about Pascal Siakam and how he only took one shot in the fourth quarter and how he needs to step up. And then, they're going to be like, oh, Chet Holmgren only scored 14 points. He needs to step up. Let's just ignore the fact that he was plus 14, or the Thunder were plus 14 when he was on the floor. They're going to talk about how Miles Turner was 0 of 6 from 3 and how he needs to step up and all that other good stuff, right? And they're going to be wrong, just like normal. Those guys are always wrong. The thing that's going to decide this game is the bench, because that is what has decided every single game in this series. Game 4, Alex Caruso was the best player off the bench for either team. He had 20 points off the Thunder bench, and the Pacers simply cannot survive that. He only made 1 3. All his other points came from him running in transition and cutting to the rim. He's why the Thunder won that game. He played excellent defense, and he was the best offensive non-star in the game. 20 points on 7 of 9 shooting. Obi Toppin was good. He had 17 points on 7 of 12 shooting. Not as good as Alex Caruso was. Whichever team's bench has been better has won every game in this series. Game 1, Obi Toppin was the best bench player in the game. He hits 5 threes off the bench after that brutal start. Game 2, Aaron Wiggins and Alex Caruso both go crazy from 3. Game 3, TJ McConnell and Benedict Mathurin were both awesome off the bench. And then game 4, Alex Caruso was outstanding. The third guy for the Pacers wasn't good enough in game 4. That is why they lost. That and Pascal Siakam only took 1 shot in the fourth quarter. They also didn't have a fourth guy offensively. Aaron Nesmith and Miles Turner both struggled. Benedict Mathurin takes 2 shots in 14 minutes. TJ McConnell was very forgettable. They didn't have enough contributions from everyone that played more than 12 minutes. Ben Shepherd, nice catch and shoot guy, but that's really it. Miles Turner and Aaron Nesmith just haven't done enough. I do the whole who's the third guy bit. It's not really a bit. I asked that question, or I've asked that question after every Pacers game because it's an important question that's usually has a positive answer throughout this playoff run. And players like Aaron Nesmith and Miles Turner have been candidates after pretty much every game until this series. Neither one of them have played up to their standard in this series. They haven't. Like Miles Turner has struggled mightily. We saw it again in game 4. 3 of 10 from the field. 0 of 6 from 3. To his credit, he got to the foul line 6 times, made all 6 free throws, finished the game with 12 points. He only had 2 rebounds, though. Like he's got to be better in that area. Game 3, 9 points, 5 blocks. That's good. Only 2 rebounds, though. Like that's not good enough. Look, the defense he played in the final 6 minutes of that game 3 was good. Everything outside of that, though, was not. Game 2, 16 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. Not a bad game. Only shot 1 of 5 from 3, though. And then game 1, that was probably his best game of the series. 15 points, 9 rebounds, 5 of 10 from the field, 2 of 5 from 3. He hit the tough step back 3 that he banked in to kind of give the Pacers a chance there late. He turned it over 6 times, though. That's not good. So it's really frustrating. And I understand that Miles Turner has been sick and he's had some good moments in this series. He was big defensively down the stretch of game 3. Game 1, he hit the tough step back 3. Aside from that, though, he's been forgettable. And they're having to go small more and play Obi Toppin at the 5 a lot in this series. And it's because of the lack of offense from Miles Turner. Someone chimed in over on Twitter, Ridger, saying that Miles Turner should always be the third guy. I don't know if I really agree with that necessarily, but he should definitely be better than what he's been so far in the series. He posted a career high in 3-point shooting percentage this year at just under 40%. And the guy's only shooting 20% from 3 in the series. And it's not like he's taking like tough end of shot clock looks. Like he's getting open looks at the top of the key, which is where he likes to shoot the ball from. And that Tyrese Haliburton, Miles Turner, pick and pop, it's been a big part of this Pacers offense all year. And it's just been non-existent in this series. And that's because Miles Turner shot the ball so poorly on good looks. 0 of 6 from 3 in game 4. He's got to be better considering the quality looks that he continues to get whenever he pops off of that, off that screen that he sets for Tyrese Haliburton. That being said, he's due for a breakout game. If he shoots 5 of 7 from 3 tonight, I think we're all going to forget pretty quickly how poor he's been prior to that. I hope he's finally not sick anymore because, look, that does impact you. I know that, he said it's not an excuse and all that kind of stuff. And he's right. It's not, but it certainly helps if you're not sick. So he's due for a big night. It needs to come tonight or in game 7. Because if they're going to win another game in Oklahoma City, it's only going to happen if they get a big offensive performance from someone not named Tyrese Haliburton or Pascal Siakam. And that leads me to the other guy who hasn't been very good in this series, Aaron Nesmith. He hasn't been much better than Miles Turner. He's fouled out in the last 2 games. He hadn't been good. Listen to his numbers. 8 points in game 4. He did have 9 rebounds, though. So good job there. He was only 2 of 9 from the field. Game 3, he only took 5 shots. He only played 22 minutes. You know why? Because he fouled out. He fouled out in 22 minutes of play. That's pitiful. Pacers found a way to win, though, even though he only scored 7 points. He had 1 more point than he did fouls. Game 2, 14 points, 4 rebounds, 5 of 12 from the field, 4 of 8 from 3 in a game that didn't really matter. He hit some threes late that didn't really impact the outcome of the game. And then game 1, he didn't score a ton, right? 10 points. He turned it over 5 times. That's not good. He was 3 of 9 from the field. That's not very good either. But he had 12 rebounds. Game 1 is the only game where we've seen normal Aaron Nesmith. You say, well, Jonathan, what is normal Aaron Nesmith? Normal Aaron Nesmith plays great defense, and he did that in game 1. Really slowed down Jalen Williams. Hasn't bothered him much since that game. And he's fouling way too much. I mean, just way too many fouls from Aaron Nesmith. 12 rebounds in game 1. Only 9 in game 4. Every other game outside of that hasn't really mattered. But none of those rebounds in game 4 felt important. Who is Aaron Nesmith? Aaron Nesmith is the guy who is solid all night. Plays good defense. If he's open, he's going to make a 3. He's pretty good at attacking closeouts. I like his little pump fake into a 1-dribble pull-up. It's a good shot for him. And, he just kind of does that, and he's solid, and you notice when he's on the floor, but it's not so overwhelming that you're like, oh, he's why the Pacers are winning right now. And then the fourth quarter comes around. And Aaron Nesmith hits a big shot. Or you need a big stop. And you just hope that Aaron Nesmith's the guy defending the ball handler. Because if he is, then you feel like he's probably going to get that stop. Or if you need a big rebound late, Aaron Nesmith is the guy who skies into the air and tears it down out of the sky. That's who he is, right? He's solid, and then when you need a play, he's the guy who makes it. He hasn't done that in this series outside of game 1. Game 1, he hit a tough corner 3 from the right corner. And his 12th rebound, he jumps up over Lou Dort, pulls it down, finds Haliburton, and he sets up the game winner. Game 2, he didn't make any big plays like that. Game 3, he didn't make any big plays like that. And Game 4, he didn't either. And he had chances to in Game 4. So he's not making big plays, and the defense hasn't been as impactful as it normally is. The Thunder hunted him late. The Thunder were like, we want Aaron Nesmith to defend Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in crunch time. When does that ever happen to Aaron Nesmith? I would argue never. He's got to find a way, Aaron Nesmith does, to getting back to who he was. The role player that makes big plays in big spots. He didn't do it in Game 4. And he had opportunities. If he stops Shai Gilgeous-Alexander once, if he doesn't commit a foul while trying to defend Shai Gilgeous-Alexander once, then the Pacers' chances of winning that game go up. If he doesn't foul out, then he's taking those free throws instead of Benedict Mathurin. Aaron Nesmith is nothing short of the best free throw shooter on this Pacers team. Okay, he's shooting 91% from the foul line this year. That's what he shot in the regular season. It's pretty good, if you ask me. I think I'd rather have that guy shooting the free throws as opposed to Benedict Mathurin. But he fouled out, so he didn't have the opportunity to make those 3 free throws and to give the Pacers a chance. Okay, because he probably makes all 3, and then we have, a slightly different game down the stretch. He has to be heard from at some point tonight if the Pacers want to win the game. And he's shooting the ball well. He's just not getting them up at the same rate. And part of that is because, the Thunder defense is really good, but he's got to be better. We have to feel his impact a little bit more. We had that in Game 3 from TJ McConnell, right, where he comes off the bench and he's still in the basketball and he's just doing TJ McConnell things. I want a game where Aaron Nesmith is doing Aaron Nesmith things, where he's just causing havoc on the defensive end of the floor. We haven't gotten that game from him quite yet in this series. The Pacers are going to need it, either in tonight or in Game 7 or in Game 6, even though I feel pretty good about the Pacers winning Game 6. I really expect for the series to go 7. I expect for the Thunder to win tonight, but I do think that the game's going to be tough. Also, 2-2 feels like the right score in this series. Pacers probably shouldn't have won Game 1. Thunder probably shouldn't have won Game 4. So now it's best of 3, which I can live with. The Pacers are really good in big spots. They finally played bad down the stretch of a playoff game. It finally happened. Okay, so, wash it. It happened. Let's get ready for Game 5. Okay? I think this game is going to be close tonight. I think the Pacers are going to hang really tough. Tyrese Haliburton has clearly figured out certain parts of this Oklahoma City defense. Pascal Siakam has had some great stretches. If he consistently touches the basketball, then the Pacers are going to have a great chance to win. Okay? The question is, everyone else. Can Obi Toppin continue to be impactful off the bench? Can anyone else off the bench put together their own run? Can TJ McConnell come in and have a little, 3-minute spurt where he's in the lane hitting little TJ McConnell floaters, and then can Mathurin have a 2-minute spurt where he scores 6 straight points? Can anyone do that? Because I know that Alex Caruso is going to make a big play if he's given the opportunity too late. He's done it his whole career. And that's going to be the difference in the game because it's been the difference in the first 4. If the Pacers role players can be better than the Thunders, then they'll win. And if the Thunder's role players are better than the Pacers, then the Pacers are going to lose. It's really that simple. That's what happened in Game 4. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, even. His plus-minus was 0 in the 40 minutes that he played. Tyrese Haliburton, his plus-minus in the 36 minutes that he played, +1. That is the difference in the game. The role players, the bench guys have to be good. Miles Turner has to start making some threes. Aaron Nesmith has to start getting some stops when he's defending Jalen Williams. How about we don't let Jalen Williams go left anymore, by the way? I mean, the dude goes left every time he gets the basketball. You know that it's coming. You know that it's coming. And, Aaron Nesmith's just yeah, man, that's fine. You can go left. I know that's where you want to go, so I'm going to let you go that way. It's just really, really frustrating watching this team play basketball in certain spots of the game because, you know what's coming from Oklahoma City, and there seems to be no no idea that it's coming. So I don't know. Anyway, Thunder Pacers game 5 tonight. I think it's going to be really close. I'm probably going to bet the Pacers plus 9.5. But I'm not too sure that they pull this one out. I think the Thunder win it, and we're back here Thursday night. Pacers backs fully against the wall, down 3-2 with a chance to force a game 7. Game 7, the best words in the sport, baby. That's going to do it here on the Real Jonathan Smith Show. I'll be back again tomorrow from 10 to noon to talk about whatever happens in the game tonight. Hopefully I'm talking about a Pacers win. Hopefully I'm talking about Miles Turner finally coming out of his slump. We'll see. The Dan Dockett Show is coming your way next. It's nice, loaded, normal Monday. Kent Sterling, Power Hour, and Todd Leary as normal. I'll talk to you tomorrow from 10 to noon.